Okay, this stage was a request by Metamutant. It's an Apokolips from Superman based stage. It's a custom hodgepodge. I'll try to remember everything I did here. Okay, so first off, you see Caliban over here in the left corner. Like, this thing had like 5 dummy sprites, which are like the exact same sprite. Totally like pointless. But also, when his arms, they moved to like the right before, but they were like copy pasted over themselves. So like the furthermost left dots along the bottom rim of his arm were still there. It was just like everything like was copy pasted once and then pasted 1 pixel over, and it looked really bad. But also, I figured, hey, since his arm's moving to the right, it should like upper tension a bit, so it like moves up and to the right now. Also, his like left arm moves up into the left, and also you can see like his muscular pulls a little to the side now. I also slowed down his animation a bit because it was like going off a little too fast. Now Orion over here, he's so damaged. So damaged I actually basically had to stop myself and be like, okay, I need to just touch him up a little and accept it, because otherwise I'll probably be dedicating like an entire day to just to fixing his sprites. But like this like gold harness that he has around himself, it looks like somebody took like a JPEG or something and like shrunk it around the musculature of the character. There's like color loss damage over it, and like what I think is compression damage, even though he's big enough that he shouldn't be compressed. It's definitely not sprited from scratch. Like, when you've got a bunch of, like, random colors popping up all over the place, like, I can tell somebody wasn't, like, being, like, you know, conservative like they would if they were, like, spreading that from scratch. I don't even know what was going on there. I touched it up some. Like, there was, like, black dots poking out around the edges and stuff. I tried to make it consistent and clean down the colors and stuff. But when it comes to the harness, I had to, like, basically, like, just force myself to stop, even though it's really me forcing myself to stop is a big issue, because it's hard for me to ever like release a stage when I know there's like extra problem. Like if I'm aware of a problem, like it just can't be like, that's no big deal. For the most part, it's like, no, that'll bug the crap out of me. Okay, so Barda flies around here. I moved her up some so she wasn't like running right in front of Caliban's face. It's kind of like her positioning before was it's kind of awkward, because like where is she like in the like distance compared to other objects? So I moved her up so like she's running behind the poles, but like before it was like, I think it was like she was like in front of this column but like not in front of the flames or something. It looks weird, so I just moved her up so she's not interfering with that. I also changed it so she flies by more than once. In the original version, she flies by once at the beginning and then you never see her again. Like, so I made it so she eventually will fly by again. I also spent quite a bit of time cleaning up her sprites. She had the same similar sort of problems that, like, color loss and other, like, what I assume is compression damage. I don't know, or just bad rip. Like, she had, like, for example, like, teal and green and orange dots like floating over on the sides of her like red cape, which should not happen whatsoever. So like that's happening by somebody like compressing the colors and then loading a palette over her. But like it never should have got to that point. Okay, so there was so many like animations that were going on that are either like blocked by something else so you couldn't see them in the first place. So like that all got trimmed out. I wanted to trim out these like cauldrons in the foreground, but I was like, maybe Metamutant wants those there. So this tower in the background with the green lights, I added a new frame to it that's like between the like dim and the most bright, and I slowed it down so there's like a new frame where it's like halfway dim, and there's like a new frame in the sky, like, which is part of this, where it's like in between the brightest and but you can barely see it, but it's there. I also, like, when you jump up, though let me get my jump dummy. Unfortunately, I had to, like, sort of trim the skies bound high. Because if you looked closely before with all these, like, vertical deltas, it was actually revealing void at the bottom that you could see. But, I mean, you'd have to be super paying attention to see it, but it was there. So like I had to like stop their vertical movement to make it so they didn't reveal void. Also, you can't see the top of these like brown pillars now, which you can't see the top that they're like cut off. I mean, maybe they were cut off on purpose, but I don't know. There's like other strange stuff in there that like you can't see anymore. Like these when the fire disappears here on this fire pillar, it was like the bottom of the explosion was repeating at the top, and like that didn't look very nice. Um, Also with these like cauldrons that are exploding, like the center one was mostly aligned with like the animations inside it, but like the ones to the left and the right, it was like this like they were like pouring over the side of the cauldron. They weren't staying dead center, so like I re-centered them, so that's no longer an issue. They should stay inside their cauldrons now. Um, oh, how could I forget this? Okay, so this pillar on the right here, it had like the end of it chopped off for some reason, but like it had this like transparency thing, like hugging it, like that still existed. So you can see like a ghost image of the pillar on the right side still existing, but the pillar itself was clipped off. I went into the art and fixed that up so it's existing, and probably got rid of that transparent lighting. It wasn't really necessary. I also desynced the lightning. Like it used to, like the lightning that runs down these pillars was like in perfect sync before, so it would run down them. I desynced them. I think it looks better desynced. Um, these little rocks on the ground, they were like very, very sheared off before. I added a little bit to the bottom to make them blend into the floor a bit better. It's like not a lot better, but I did something. Um, there was also a seam over here near Caliban. I put some art editing to try to hide the seam a little. I mean, it's probably something you're not going to notice too much because these little like gray tiles are covering most of it, but it was there. Speaking of the gray tiles, like on like 3 or 4 of the frames of the gray tiles, like new black dots would appear around them. So I had to like clean that. It also wouldn't look like a broken animation that was like causing black dots to appear when they shouldn't be there. Uh, oh, there was like some green pylons in the sky that are like, I think they were from a D&D stage. I don't think they really needed to be there. I took them out. There was like a random flame ball that just shoots in from the left side randomly. He asked me to tone down the chaos, and like it didn't need that extra thing, so I took that out. Oh, God, there's probably more. Oh, speaking of color loss, the ground had a bunch of like green dots from Caliban, like sprinkled all throughout these like the ground texture. Painted those out. There was like a bunch of black dots on this on the pillars. They looked better, and there was some green dots on them too. There was green dots on the rocks, like all these like beige rocks and stuff had green dots from Caliban on them. Painted those out. Uh, Feels like I'm probably still forgetting something, but that's the most that changes probably. Like the sky bound high is trimmed. I hope that's not a big deal for you. Hope you liked the changes and the fixes. Now to get on to your other problem. Enjoy.